The objective today is to graph points in all four quadrants on the coordinate plane. So what is the coordinate plane? A coordinate plane is formed by two number lines. One is horizontal and is called the x-axis, and the other number line is a vertical one called the y-axis. These two number lines meet at their zero and they are perpendicular to each other. Where they meet, where they intersect, is called the origin. And as you can see, when they intersect, there are four quadrants formed. 2, 3, 4. These are the four quadrants that are formed. And they are numbered. So the first quadrant is where both x and y are positive. So here we can see that the numbers are positive on x. Here we can see positive numbers on y. So this quadrant is considered our first quadrant, and sometimes we use Roman numerals to number this quadrant. So an I is considered a 1. This will be Q1 or quadrant 1 or first quadrant, or sometimes you will see it with a number, so you can also see it as first quadrant. Then the second one is going to be to the left. This one is considered the second quadrant. With Roman numerals, you use two I's, or second quadrant. And then the third, or Q3, and the fourth, as Roman numeral is an I and a V, or Q4. Remember that these quadrants are numbered counterclockwise. So where both x and y are positive, that will be your Q1, and then Q2, Q3, and then Q4, counterclockwise. This is how we number those quadrants. We are going to be graphing points on this coordinate plane, and those points are called order pairs. Order pairs have two numbers in between parentheses, and you will see a comma between each number. So the first number that you see inside the parentheses is your x movement, and that will be your horizontal movement. So that means if that number is positive, you are going to be moving to the right of the number line starting in the origin, and if that number is negative, you are going to be moving to the left of that origin. Now when you're done moving horizontally, the next number is going to be your y movement or your vertical movement. If that number is positive, you are going to be moving up. If that number is negative, you are going to be moving down. In a second, we're going to be doing some examples so you can understand this much better. And the origin has a coordinate of 0, 0, because remember that these two number lines meet at their zeros. So let's do some examples so we can explain this much better. Graph the following order pairs on the following coordinate plane. So we have A, B, C, and D. We have these points that we need to graph on this coordinate plane. As I told you before, the first number that you see, that will be your x movement. So it's a good idea if you label them. So this is going to be my x movement, the first number. And the second one is going to be your y movement or your vertical movement. So let's start with point A. As you can see, these points are labeled with capital letters. So you always start from the origin. So you are going to position your pen or your pencil in 0, 0, and from there you are going to start the movements. So A is 3, 5. So starting from 0, my x movement is positive 3. That means that I am going to jump 3 units to the right from the origin. 1, 2, 3. Remember that each square represents a unit. So now my point is here on 3 on the x-axis. Now from there, I am going to do now my vertical movement. That is 5 positive. So from there, I'm going to jump 5 units up because it's positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my point or my order pair is going to be there. You can erase all this mess. This was just for reference, for graphing. And then you label your point. So this point, this coordinate, is A. Let's do B now. So again, starting in the origin, your first number is your x movement. So horizontally, I'm going to move -2. That means to the left from the origin. 2 units. 1, 2. So now I'm there. From there, I'm going to do my y movement, that in this case is 3 positive. So from there, I'm going to jump 3 units. 1, 2, 3. And I draw my point. I can erase all this mess. That was just for reference. And this will be my order pair B. Okay, let's do C. Now we got this. So we start in the origin. My x movement is 0. What does that mean? That I don't move to the right or to the left. That means that in x, I stay there. I don't have any movement. So now my y movement, that is 7 positive. So from there, from the origin, I need to move 7 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I draw my point. As you can see, this point is going to be on the y-axis because I didn't have any movement on my x-axis, and then you label it. This will be coordinate C or order pair C. And last, it will be D. Again, you start in the origin. It says -6 on the x-axis, so that means that I'm going to jump to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I draw a point there for reference, and from there I do my y movement, that in this case is 0. So that means that you don't move up or down, you stay there. So there you draw your point. You can erase all this mess, and don't forget to label it. This will be order pair D. Another type of example, they can give you the points, the order pairs, and you need to name them. You need to figure out where they are. So let's start with R. Don't forget that order pairs come in between parentheses, and a comma will separate both numbers. Your first number is going to be your x movement or your x position, your x coordinate. So I am going to locate R, and then I'm going to see where on x is lying. So as I can see, this point is in -2 on x. I can erase this mess. This was just for reference. And then where it is positioned on the y-axis. So I can see that is also positioned in +1. So my order pair will be -2, 1. Remember that the second number is your y-axis or your y movement. Okay, let's move on with S. Don't forget your parentheses. Don't forget your comma in between both coordinates. I'm erasing this mess so I can focus now on S. S is here in the fourth quadrant. I want to see first the y-axis. So you can draw this line for reference to see where exactly it's touching. So I see that it's touching in positive 8 on X, that is my first number, and on Y, I am drawing this line for reference just to have the exact coordinate. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that will be -6 because it's down there. So -6. Okay, what about T? So don't forget your parentheses, don't forget your comma. So T, I will start with the X move, with the X position, the X coordinate. So just for reference, I'm doing this line. It's touching on positive 5. Oh, I'm using another color for X, sorry. So 5, positive 5. And the Y movement is 1, 2, 3, 4, positive. So the Y movement is 4, positive. Okay, what about U? Comma in between. I can erase this mess, and I am going to focus now on U. So U is here in the third quadrant, my reference line to see exactly where it's touching. So -5 on X, and then on Y is touching -4. V, don't forget parentheses, don't forget your comma. I erase this mess. On X, as you can see, X is exactly 9, is on the X-axis, so on 9. And the Y-axis, at this point, is neither up or down. If you want to do that line of reference, this Y coordinate is going to be 0. This point is neither up or down on the Y-axis, so that will be 0. And the last one is going to be W. I put my parentheses, my comma. My X-axis, as you can see, if I want to do that reference, is 0. W is on 0 on the X-axis, and on the Y is exactly on -3. Is down -3, so that will be my Y movement. They can also ask you about quadrants of this ordered pair. So let's do these examples. Name the quadrants where each point lies. So to refresh your memory, where both X and Y are positive, that will be your first quadrant. Remember, sometimes they use Roman numerals. Sometimes you will see it with numbers. So this is the first quadrant. And then you go counterclockwise to keep numbering. So this one is the second one. Third one, or Q3, sometimes they use Q3, and then Q4. Okay, now that you know your quadrants, now that you label them, now we can answer the question. So R, as we can see, is in the second quadrant. So you can write Q2, or you can also use numbers. Q2, whatever is your, however they are asking you to do it. Okay, S. S is in the fourth. T is in the first. U is on 3. But what about V or W? So V is exactly on the x-axis. So you cannot name any quadrant here. If they ask you for the quadrant and you see that a point is on one of the axes, that will be your answer. So B is going to be on the x-axis. So that will be your answer. And W is on the y-axis. Is neither in any quadrant. You cannot say, oh, W is in quadrant 3 and 4. You cannot say that because that's not true. It's exactly on the y-axis. So your answer is just the axis. So y-axis. So be very careful if you have something like this. Okay, so now is your turn. Refer to the following coordinate plane and answer the following questions. So open your notebook, take out a piece of paper, try to answer these problems on your own. You can pause the video now, and when you're done, click play and go and check the answers at the end. Don't forget to like this video, share and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at NumeritosTV. If you want to suggest other objectives, let me know through email or through DM and we will do it for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.